Hello kids, welcome back. Today we are going to continue with should have, okay? Now let's remember that we use should have to express regret or criticize actions in the past. And we have two structures, a negative and an affirmative. So the first one is should, have, and the verb in past participle. Then the negative, the only thing that changes is not. Okay, so it's should not have and the verb in past participle. Let's look at the first activity. It says, match the sentences on the left to the appropriate ones on the right. Okay, so here you have 7 sentences, and you have the beginning, and you have here another column with the ending of the sentences. If you look at this, all the sentences have should have, okay? For example, I shouldn't have gone to bed so late last night. Okay, so now read the sentences here and match the situations with the appropriate sentence with should have. You can pause the video now to do the activity, and when you're done, you can check the answers. Okay, let's check the answers. The first one is, my girlfriend left me. I should have been nicer to her. Then D, we won't be able to finish our dinner. We shouldn't have ordered so much food. 3 is F. This movie is really boring. We should have chosen an action movie. Then 4 is H. The cookies are burnt. You shouldn't have left them in the oven for so long. 5 is C. My feet are freezing. I should have worn socks. 6 is A. I was really late for work this morning. I shouldn't have gone to bed so late last night. And finally, 7 is B. The job interview didn't go too well. Now look at your books in page 41. Here you have the explanation for should have, and you have a sentence, okay? It says, read the sentences, then choose the correct alternatives. You have 2 examples. They should have prepared, and they shouldn't have worn flip-flops. So, we use should have and shouldn't have plus past participle or base form, past participle, to criticize actions in the past. We use should have and shouldn't have plus past participle to criticize actions in the past. Let's look at activity number 1. Look at the pictures. Complete the sentences with should have or shouldn't have and the correct form of the verbs in parentheses. Here we have an example. So, here you have the image, and you have to use the verb use. So you say, I should have used, in past participle, sunscreen. Okay? Now, look at these pictures and read the sentences and complete the blank spaces with should have or shouldn't have and the correct form of the verb in parentheses. You can pause the video now, and then we are going to check. Okay, now let's see the answers. Here, look at the image. He should have worn a helmet. She shouldn't have eaten so much pizza. Look at the verb, eaten. They shouldn't have walked on the ice. Walk is a regular verb, so you only add ed. And finally, he should have looked where he was going. Very good. Let's continue. Look at this image. Tessa's parents were gone for the weekend. Write what they think Tessa should and shouldn't have done before they returned. So, if you look at these sentences, these are things that Tessa's parents said to Tessa. For example, they said, "You didn't wash the dishes." So, you have to transform this sentence into a sentence with should have. Tessa should have washed the dishes. Okay? Now, take a minute to write all these different sentences and say what Tessa should or shouldn't have done. You can pause the video now to do the activity, and when you're ready, you can check the answers. Okay, let's check. So the first one is, you didn't take out the trash. Tú no sacaste la basura. Tessa should have taken out the trash. Tessa debería haber sacado la basura. You had a party. Tessa shouldn't have had a party. You didn't clean up. Tessa should have cleaned up. You wore dirty shoes inside the house. Tessa shouldn't have worn the dirty shoes inside the house. You ate junk food every day. Comiste comida chatarra todos los días. Tessa shouldn't have eaten junk food every day. And finally, you didn't call us. Tessa should have called them. Okay? So, what is important here is that, for example, you have a verb, for example, wear, and here you have in the past simple, wore. Tú usaste zapatos sucios dentro de la casa. And here, look at this. It's the same verb, but this is in past participle. Tessa no debería haber usado. Okay, zapatos sucios dentro de la casa. Very good. Okay, now let's pay attention to this. In class, we are going to work on page 38, okay? So, this is the page, and here you have a text. The text is titled, Meet an Australian Park Ranger. Okay, so a park ranger is a person who takes care of a national park. Un guardabosques, guardaparques, okay? He is Rob, the park ranger, and he works here in this national park, Uluru, okay? You have to read the text, okay? Read the whole text, and then you have to do this activity number 1. You have to check 2 events that happened in the park. Read the text. You can pause the video now to read the text, or you can use your own book. Remember that in Classroom, you have the book in PDF, okay? Okay. After you do this activity, you have to complete activity number 4. Look at the pictures, write sentences from the article with should have or shouldn't have. And here you have an example. He shouldn't have lit a stove, okay? So you have to look at the pictures and read the text again and find should have sentences, okay, for each of these pictures. When you are done with activity number 4, please go to page 40, okay? Page 40. Here we have vocabulary about injuries. Injuries are heridas o lesiones, okay? So if you have an accident, you get injured. You can get injuries, okay? Let's look at the expressions. It says, match the expressions with the pictures, okay? That is the activity. We have 10 expressions. Break your arm, okay? Romper el brazo, romperse el brazo. Bruise your knee, hacerse un moretón en la rodilla. Burn your hand, you already know this. Cut your finger. Get a blister. Blister is an ampolla, okay? Get an insect bite, mordedura o picadura de insecto. Get a sunburn, quemarse por el sol. Graze your leg. Graze is rasmillarse o rozarse, okay? Hit, golpear, hit your head. And finally, sprain your ankle. Sprain is esguinzarse. Okay, so look at the pictures and please do the activity in which you have to match the picture and the expression. Here you have an example. The first one, look at this, is cut your finger. Cortarse el dedo. So now you can pause the video to complete the exercise. If you are done, let's check the answers. Look at the pictures and see if you are correct. All right. And the last thing you have to do is this activity number 2. You must listen to the conversations and then complete the chart. So you are going to listen to an audio. And in the audio, there are 4 people speaking, okay? You have 4 speakers. You have to complete this table with what happened, what accident or injury. For example, she cut her finger. And then how did it happen? What are the circumstances for the accident? So, for example, how she was cutting cheese when her cell phone rang. Okay? Now listen with attention.
Unit 4, Vocabulary, Injuries, page 40, Exercise 2. 1. Have you ever cut your finger?
Yes, I have.
How did it happen?
I was making a sandwich for me and my friends. While I was cutting some cheese, my cell phone rang, but I wasn't looking at what I was doing, and I cut my finger. I had to go to the hospital, it was so bad.
Ouch! 2. Have you ever grazed your leg?
Yes, I have, many times.
How did it happen the last time?
I was playing soccer when I fell. The graze looked awful. I had to wear pants and long skirts for weeks to hide it.
3.
Have you ever burned your hand?
Yes, I have.
How did it happen?
I was making a cake. I was taking the cake out of the oven when I dropped it because it was so hot. I had burned my hand.
4.
Have you ever gotten a blister?
Yes, I have.
How did it happen?
I was wearing new shoes. I went walking with my brother in the mountains, and the shoes hurt my feet. I had a blister on my left foot. It was very big and red.
Oh.
Okay, if you need to listen to the audio again, you can rewind the video. If you are ready, we can check the answers right now. These are the answers. Okay, please take your time to read them and check. This was the last activity for today. Have a good week. Bye.